Now let's try example 4. In this example where a is not 1, so we're going to try to factorize 3x squared minus 6x minus 9, where a equals 3, b is minus 6, and c is minus 9. We want to find ac, which means a times c, which is 3 times minus 9. 3 times minus 9 is minus 27. We need two numbers we can multiply together to get AC equals minus 27. And when we add them together, we get B to be equals minus 6. So we try 1 and 27. 1 and 27, if we add them together, we get 28. So that wouldn't work. 2 will not go in 27, so we have to try 3 and 27, and 3 and 9. Well, 3 plus 9 is 12. That would work. I'm looking for minus 6. So if I try 3 and minus 9, that will give me minus 6, and hence minus 27 when we multiply them together. So in the box, in the top box, we put 3 and minus 9. In the bottom box numerator, we put 3 and minus 9. In the bottom box denominator, we put 3. We put a equals 3. So we divide it by 3. Now, in order to complete these factors, what we now need to do is simplify one of the bottom boxes, not both of them. So let's do an example when we simplify the left-hand side. So if we simplify the left-hand side, we get 1 over 1. Because 3 in 1 is 3, 3 in 1 is 3. And we still keep the right-hand side, which is minus 9 over 3. So the bottom box denominator is our x, so that's 1x. And the bottom box numerator is our constant, that's plus 1. So that's your x, that's your constant. And likewise for the other one, so your x is 3x and your constant is minus 9. And we close the brackets. Those are our factors. But remember, x, 1x is x. And therefore our factors are x plus 1, 3x minus 9. We can still take 3 out of 3x minus 9, and that can be equals, well, 3x minus 3 and x plus 1. Because 3, if you multiply it out again, 3 times x is 3x, 3 times minus 9 is minus 9. So that will be the true factors for this quadratic function. What happens when we simplify the right-hand side? If we simplify the right-hand side, so I'm going to write that in red now. So we keep 3 over 3 and simplify the right-hand side, which is minus 3 over 1. Because that's the right-hand side is what so 3 in 9 is minus 3, 3 in minus 9 is minus 3, and 3 in 3 is 1. And so now we can then write the denominator of the bottom box is x. So we're going to write 3x. So that's your x. And the bottom denominator is your constant. So 3x plus 3. And for the other factor is the denominator is x, so that'll be 1x. And the top is a constant, so that'll be minus 3. 1x is x, so therefore that will be equals 3x plus 3 and x minus 3. Now, if we take out 3 from the common factor here, as 3 equals x plus 1, x minus 3. You can see we still get the same value. So we still get the same value. So it doesn't matter which one you simplify, but don't simplify both of them at the same time, because that would be bad. Now let's try another example. 2x squared minus 13x minus 7. So in this case, a is 2, b is minus 13, and c is minus 7. We need to find AC. AC, that's a times c. And therefore, 2 times minus 7 is minus 14. So AC is minus 14. B is minus 13. Now, we put minus 14 there. Two numbers we can multiply to get minus 14. When we add them together, we get minus 13. Always try 1 and 14 first. Well, let's start with 1. At this time, 1 plus 14 is 15. So that wouldn't work. What about if we try 1 and minus 14? Well, that seems to be the number, right? 1 and plus minus 14 is minus 13. 1 times minus 14 is minus 14. So product means times, sums means plus. In the two boxes, the top boxes, we put 1 and minus 14. In the bottom box, numerator, we put 1 and minus 14. Our A is 2, so we divide the bottom box by 2. So in the denominator goes 2 of the bottom boxes. Again here, you can see 1 over 2 is the first part of our factor, and minus 14 over 2 is the second part of a factor. We need to simplify one of them if we can. So we're going to get minus 7 over 1, because 2 in 2 is 1, 2 in 14 is 7. So 2 in minus 14 is minus 7. So now our actual factors that we'll be using will be a half and minus 7 over 1. The bottom box denominator is our x, so that'll be our x, and that'll be our x. So our factors will be 2x plus 1 and 1x minus 7. And therefore, we know that 1x equals x, and that will become 2x plus 1 and x minus 7. That's our factor. If we want to justify that, well, we could expand it and see whether we get back the original equation. So let's try that. 2x plus 1, x minus 7. Where 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 7 is minus 14x. That's minus 7, by the way. Minus 14x. 1 times x is plus 1x. 1 times minus 7 is minus 7. So if we add them together, we will get 2x squared minus 13x minus 7. So that's correct. So therefore the factors are x, 2x plus 1, and x minus 7. Right, let's try example 6. 2x squared plus 9x minus 5. In this case, 2, a is 2, b is 9, and c is minus 5. You can pause this video at any time and actually do the questions and then continue and see if you get it. So, at this point, we need to find AC. And AC is 2 times minus 5, and that gives us minus 10. We need two numbers that we can multiply together to get minus 10, which is AC. And when we add them together, we get 9. We always start with 1, so let's start 1 and 10. 1 plus 10 is 11, so that's no good. What about 1 minus 1 and plus 10? Well, minus 1 plus 10 is plus 9. So our numbers are minus 1 and 10. So in the boxes, put minus 1 and 10. In the bottom box, numerator, put minus 1 and 10. Now we need to divide the bottom boxes by a, and a equals 2 in this case. So that will be the denominator of the bottom box will be 2 and 2. Again, we can see we can simplify one of them, which is 10 and 2. So yes, we can do that, and then we go on to get 5 and 1. And we keep the left-hand side, which is, in this case, is minus 1 and 2. So what we need to do is put x to the bottom ones. So those are our x, the denominator ones of the bottom boxes. And therefore, we get our factors. So that will be 2x minus 1. Minus 1 is from the numerator. And 1x plus 5. Plus 5 is the constant from the numerator. And those are our factors. Now we know that 1x equals x, and so therefore you're going to get 2x minus 1 and x plus 5. Well, in order to justify our answer, we could expand it and see if we get back the answer, original equation. So, original function. So let's see. We're going to get 2x minus 1 times x plus 5. 2x times x is, so 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 5 is plus 10x minus 1 times x is minus 1x minus 1 times 5 is minus 5. So therefore 2x squared plus 9x minus 5. So we got the original function back, and therefore our factors are 2x minus 1 and 2x plus 5 and x plus 5. Let's try this example 7. This is a final example. We're factorizing 3x squared minus 22x minus 16, where a equals 3, b is minus 22, and c is minus 16. Well, in this case, we need to find AC. That's a times c. Remember, you can pause this video and solve it and then check your answer. Which means a times c. That'll be 3 times minus 16, and that'll be minus 48. So AC is equals minus 48, and B, as we know it is minus 22. We need two numbers we can multiply together to get minus 48, and when we add them together we get minus 22. We always start with 1, 48. Well, 1 plus 48 is 49, so that wouldn't work. I'll start with 2 and 24. Well, 2 plus 24 is 26. What about 2 minus 24? So that will be our numbers, because 2 minus 24 is minus 22. So the top box we put 2, then minus 24. The bottom box numerator we put 2 and minus 24. We need to divide the bottom box by, so we divide it by a, and a equals 3 in this case, so it'll be 2 over 3 and minus 24 over 3. Now what we need to do is, can we simplify any of them? If you to simplify, only simplify one part. So minus 24 and 3 can be simplified to minus 8 and 1, because 3 goes in 3, 1 at the bottom denominator. 3 goes in 24 at the bottom numerator is 8. And if you go minus 24, you get minus 8. And we still have on the left 2 and 3. We can only simplify one part, one side. So now stick x to the 3, the denominator, bottom box, and stick x to the denominator, bottom box on the right. And now our factors will be 3x plus 2, the numerator of the bottom box, and 1x minus 8, the numerator of the bottom box. We know also that 1x is x, and therefore our factors will become 3x plus 2 x minus 8. We could also test it to see whether it works by expanding those factors. And so we should get, if you do 3x plus 2 x minus 8, we should get 3x times x, that would be 3x squared. 3x times minus 8, that would be minus 24. X. 2 times x, that would be plus 2x. And 2 times minus 8, that would be minus 16. So to complete the algebra, you get 3x squared minus 22x minus 16. So that means we got the original function back, and our factors are 3x plus 2, x minus 8.